Hey, Waterside, good to be with you today. I'm glad that you stopped by, and hopefully, we have some good things to talk about. I wanted to share a little bit about what's going on in the country today with all the difficulties that we seem to be having, and we're just not getting anywhere that quickly. I know for myself that it seems like again and again and again we're butting up to these same problems. And it made me think that as we go back in history, all the way back to when Cain and Abel were struggling with each other, and Cain just was jealous as all sin of his brother. We begin to see the seeds of this I'm better than you kind of understanding, which seems to be developing out of the human race. I'm somehow better than you. And as a result of that, we see Cain taking Abel's life because he was upset and mad or whatever human emotions were driving him. But the bottom line was he felt he was better and he was hosed out of that. And as a result, he decided he'd punish his brother with death. Here we go. This is the start. This is the beginning. This is where we start to see the difficulties between humanity, because all of a sudden we get this stupid idea in our head, whether it's planted by Satan or if it's just inherent in the human race. That idea is I am better than you. And as a result, I can be stronger, wiser, smarter than you. I can go ahead and dominate you. I can go ahead and tell you what to do and where to do it and how to do it. And I could dominate you in any part of the world, because we begin to see that this is the common understanding of people coming together. It's a human thing. It's what we do, and we do badly. We do it better badly in the United States, perhaps, than most other countries because of our history. We've got to stop back at the beginning finding of this country when Columbus was tromping around in South Florida, or Cuba, or wherever he maybe it was able to do, and the other explorers were finding. They found people who were here. They found people who they deemed as savages. They found people who, over time in the history of our country, were shuttled around like unwanted clothespins because we just didn't have any use for them, and they were in the way, and they were savages, and they were different than us, and we just couldn't like them or deal with them, so we had to get rid of them. And the way we got rid of them is through Indian wars, through starvation, through treating them badly, putting them on reservations, and then saying, oh, no, that's not what we meant. We move them on other ones. We have sinned so badly against the Native American Indian tribes of all over this country. We don't have enough time left in the history of the world to make it up to them. But that's not the only place we've got issues. Along the way, in order to build this country and make it strong, we had to import people from Africa. We had to import other slaves. We had to bring them over here to make things better. And the way we could do that is by getting wealth in buying people. Well, there's a concept never meant by the Creator himself that we would be subject in that way. A human invention to be better than you, to be in control of you, to own you. And as a result of that, slavery flourished. Our country was built. Many people at the time of the Declaration of Independence was written. Many people were slaveholders. They were running away from religious intolerance. They were running away from the king's taxation. They were running away and all these things. They use flowery language which says, all men are created equal and leave my slaves alone. This is stupid. This is what we've been doing, and we continue to do it in a variety of different ways. We think we're better than they are. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It matters more the fact that you're human to think you could do this. We've been doing this for centuries. Now, before the United States even became into existence, let's pause that history lesson as I see it and go back to Europe and the Europeans. The history of the Christian church is littered with bad examples of the church thinking they're better than others. Yeah, let's talk about the Crusades. We go out and kill other people because they're not believers. Well, that's a judgment call on our part, which we probably should be still repenting over and regretting. But we do that in order to make God's word work. But God will take care of his word working. It doesn't need our help, and it certainly doesn't need our swords and military might to take that on. God is God, for goodness sakes. It's his call. He created us to be just like each other. But we're the ones who choose to be different. Okay, let's get back into our country. What else is going on? What else do we see around us that goes on? We look to the southern border, the Mexican and Texas debacle over history time, where we're arguing back and forth over the borders, go to war with them and fight it out, and men lose their lives over the fact that this is ours and that's yours, and we're better than you. And now all of a sudden we see the situation kind of changed a little bit. The border of when we lived in Texas, the Rio Grande was the border, and people were saying those Mexicans need to get out of our land. Well, that was their land before, because the border was actually further north than what the Rio Grande is today. But we forget history. We forget that other people are just as important as we are. We forget that other people are just the same as we are. And as a result of that, we do stupid things that go on as immigrants want to emerge and come to our country, as they've come for decades, if not centuries. This country wouldn't be what it is if we didn't have people coming to it and trying to find a better way of living. It only works, though, if you come to better life and move into it and assume into it equal with your fellow neighbor, and just say, look, we're all in this together. We stand together, it works. We fall together if it doesn't. And we are still in a position of trying to say we're better than you. You could jump all over the United States history for that. The conflict and the war between the states, the South and the North. We see the difference of ideologies coming together, the slaveholders versus the non-slaveholders, the North versus the South, the Yankees versus the rebels. We have these situations, and we just don't give up. We still have this underlying theme. We've made movies out of this stuff. We think of the Star Wars trilogies and how the rebels and the alliances and all these other things just continues. And it's a great movie to watch because it's just what people do. It's got to change. It's got to stop, because that's not what God's created us to be. And anytime we live into that, we're living short of what God would have us be. Think of the times that we misused each other, looking down, and all of the difficulties between ethnicities, these groups that were coming in. I remember when I was a kid and growing up in Cleveland, my dad told me, don't go on that street because you'll get your tarnation beat out of you, because those people are from a different country than where we came from. Well, I was born in America. My dad was born in America. What's going on? I didn't understand, but you were taught suspicion and hatred from an early age, because that's what everybody else did. That was the narrative that was given out, and you just bought it because that's what everybody was doing. So you have this negativity approach to other people. Jump to World War II as an example. All of a sudden, the Japanese bombed us. Their imperialistic understanding in the world at that point in time, they thought they could take us on and win. What's the first thing we do? Took American citizens who looked Japanese, and we went ahead and bottled them up in internment camps. Fun, right? All equal, no matter what. But suspicion, fear, and people pointing fingers at other people just starts to work up, and we get this lynching mentality. It doesn't matter. It's not, doesn't have to. You don't have to be black or white or yellow or pink or purple. Somebody along the way is going to take you out because they don't like you and they think they're better than you. This has got to stop. And we fast forward to today, after decades of bad practice, of embarrassing flights of human wisdom here, all over our country, with a police force that should know better, ought to know better, has the law working on their side and against their activity, but they still go there anyway. They need to realize that they're responsible as well. Friends, we are all responsible. And we're responsible to the basic tenet that we are equivalent. We're not better. We're not worse. We are the same. If you get yourself into an accident and you need blood from somebody else, and you're going to be glad to get 2 or 3 units. You don't know where it comes from, but you'll be doggone sure glad that it's going to be there for you because you need it. And you're going to be doggone glad that somebody cared enough to share their blood with you, and you were able to use it. And you're going to realize that blood is the same as your blood, and it's going to work. You're going to have different things, and here we are in the virus understanding of the COVID-19, and we're looking for people with antibodies in their blood, so we can get a little of that antibody and put it in our blood, and we'll be okay. Well, if we're so the same, why don't we act like it? Why don't we continue to act like it and move forward? My point today is to say we're no different. We're no different ethnically. We're no different religiously. We're no different racially. We're all the same. We're human beings. And in my religious tradition, we're human beings created in the image of God. We are to be like God. That was the original plan. We mucked that up, but that's the plan. And God sent prophets. He sent priests. He sent judges. He sent shepherd boys. He sent everybody he could, and then he finally sent his son. And we killed him too. Because we're better than that. We're wrong. Friends, we got to change. This has got to stop. We must simply end racism. We must simply end hatred toward ethnicities. We must simply end intolerance toward other human beings. We need to bend the knee and give them some help. We need to bend the knee and pick up the trash that society's dumped around. We need to bend the knee and pray to Almighty God to forgive us for our ignorance and our abuse of what His creation's all about. We need to stop putting our focus on the almighty dollar and start building relationships one with another. It has got to stop. If it does not, we're doomed. We've been dancing this dance for long enough. It's about time, I think, we're called to a whole new way of living. And we're called to needing to stop fooling ourselves. This is not life. This is not good. This is not what it should be. And as we sit back going, oh, those nasty rioters and looters, when you get to the end of your rope and you got nothing else, you're going to do some strange and wonderful things. And I think we need to realize maybe they got pushed. Maybe we're the ones who got them there. And now that's all that they could do to act out that way. And maybe we can change. Maybe we could just say enough. Wouldn't it be amazing that if we took this, let's do a little fairy tale. We take everybody and put them away for 3 months. Create a disease, put everybody away for 3 months. I'm kidding. And then we emerge from that disease, and we got to take a fresh start. Everything we used to do is now gone, and we could start over. Let's take advantage of that. Rather than being all squirreled up and squirrely in our mind's eye for being locked up and quarantined for 3 months, let's get out there and change the world to a better place. Let's not go back to the old way. Let's not go back and do the stupid things. Let's not go back and do this man against man. Let's not live out a life of man's inhumanity to man. But let's show the love of Jesus Christ. Let's just be like him. What did he do when he had every chance to stay away from those other people? He goes to the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. Oh my God, he shouldn't have been caught dead in the same county with this chick. But he says, hey, you're cool. I think we need to realize, example after example after example, Jesus chose the outer limits people. Jesus chose people on the outskirts of society. He picks Matthew, a tax collector, to start off with in the New Testament. You know, Matthew the tax collector. Boy, everybody loves tax collectors, don't they? They cheat, lie, steal, and deceive. He picked him. And he was the disciple. And it goes. We can just keep going and dig into all the disciples, all those who followed him. But Jesus took people as they were and showed them the love of God. He took people as they were and showed them that he was willing to die for them, that they might have a better life, a new life, and that they should live in the light of Jesus Christ. And that's what this is all about. This is kingdom time. This is God announcing to his world, you don't have to live this way, let's change. And if we don't do that, if we don't change, it's done. We're gone. It'll just be a time before our bodies shrivel up and we die and we're tossed away and we don't have a chance to redo it. And as we sit on our deathbed, we will regret the fact that we weren't nicer, that we didn't have any friends now. No one can gonna care to come to our funeral because they don't give a rat's behind over us at all. Because we weren't any good. We need to change, and change quickly. It's my prayer. Second Chronicles 7:14 would remind us, if we humble ourselves, we bow to our Creator, that He will come and heal our land. He'll heal our hearts. He'll give us a chance once again to be the people we could be. It's my prayer we can, and we're going to do everything we can in the weeks and months ahead to do exactly that. We'd invite you to follow along on our Unite 714 program with the churches all over the country and the world, in fact, as we pray at 7:14 in the morning and 7:14 at night, each and every day, to make sure that God hears our prayer, to make sure that we're centered the way we should be centered, focusing our need for His help in all that we do. Friends, we can't do this ourselves. We've had centuries to try. We need God's help. We need it now. We need to leave the past behind and start anew today. May His grace go with you. Thanks for listening.